Stem cells can potentially heal every disease that we see. This is according to scientist Christian Drapeau.
Physiologically, you lose cells from the day you're born, they're replaced by stem cells. But you have so much when you're young that the only thing you experience is growth.
He's also a Canadian entrepreneur, author, and advocate in the field of health and wellness, and he is best well known for his work in stem cell research and potential applications in regenerative medicine. On this podcast, you're going to find out where to get stem cells, how to get stem cells, and how stem cells can potentially change your life and your health. All right. Listen, this is the first time I ever had another Christian on the show. And that's how I know it's going to be a good one. Two wise men sitting here. I'm really excited to talk to you, man, about stem cells. You are such a wealth of knowledge when it comes to stem cells. And for those viewing and listening already, right from the get-go, why are stem cells so important in our health? Mm-hmm. And how have stem cells blown up over the past few years in the sense of therapeutically being used for injuries or whatever is needed?
Wow, these are. I mean, we could go for an hour on these questions. Yeah. Stem cells really matter because they are literally just like you have an immune system, you have a repair system, and that's your stem cells. So you have a repair system, and I think it's interesting to realize everybody has had an experience that the body repairs. Everybody has had a broken bone, a cut, a bruise, and it's gone. Mm-hmm. So everybody has an intimate experience that the body repairs. But in medicine, who talks about repair? You get a broken bone or a surgery, the surgeon will say, go rest so that you can repair. But rest, how is rest magically making you repair? Yeah. No, there's something in the body that repairs, that's your stem cells. So that's why they matter so much for your health. They are literally your repair system. Anytime something is broken, your stem cells they get into play to repair your body. And in terms of treatment, why they're so explosive is because they are your repair system. They are the element in your body that repairs. If you can put more stem cells in circulation, then that means you will have a greater potential ability to repair. So that means it opens the door for almost anything.
So first of all, we're overlooking the power of stem cells. Mm-hmm. We have been for years. But when you say repair, is it just with injuries or is it just with all diseases also, that repair process being so important in healing?
It's for everything. But let me give you one example that will blow your socks off. So whenever I give a presentation, I show that video. So I'll describe it. So it's a study in which the group of Dr. Doris Taylor took the heart of a mouse, digested all the cardiac tissue with digestive enzymes. So what they're left with after, let's say, a day, they're left with the skeleton of the heart, like the soft skeleton, the collagen connective tissue of the heart that still retains the trace that it was a heart. And on that, they simply lay the stem cells taken from that animal. And within a week or two, they have a beating heart in the test tube. Mm-hmm. So your stem cells have an amazing, amazing regenerative power. The question is more, what stands in the way of duplicating this in the body? Because they can become cells of the heart. They can repair the heart, the lung, the liver, the pancreas, the brain, the skin, joints. They can do everything. Not only they can, you're still alive today because they've been doing this since the day you're born.
So we were born with stem cells. They're working for our healing, working for our repair. What is the things that are blocking stem cells from working efficiently, from healing us from injuries and different diseases?
There are two main things. One of them, I would say, is the fundamental physiology of stem cells. We're born with red marrow that makes stem cells. By very early in our lives, the red marrow converts into yellow marrow that does not make stem cells, fatty marrow. So by age 30, we've lost 90% of our red marrow. And then it keeps going. So the decline in the number of stem cells is dramatic from birth to 15 years old, 30 years old. And in our 30s, we discover we're no longer Superman, like we don't repair like we used to. It's directly because you don't have as many stem cells in your bloodstream to participate in this process of tissue repair. So, and then because another part of repair, which is super important, and oftentimes I say stem cells are one of the greatest discoveries in the history of medicine, probably the greatest of our lifetime. And it's not because of how they repair, but it's the other layer of stem cells, meaning every day of our lives, we lose cells, and it's the role of stem cells to replace the cells that are lost. We experience aging like an old fence in your backyard. You look at it, and over the years, it's declining more and more. We experience aging in the same way, but it's not what is happening physiologically. Physiologically, you lose cells from the day you're born, They're replaced by stem cells. But you have so much when you're young that the only thing you experience is growth.
Right.
Growth, repair, health, optimal health. Somewhere in your 30s, early 40s, you start to realize the body is just not following you like it used to.
Yeah.
And from that point on, you don't have enough stem cells to fully offset cellular loss. So now you start to go through a slow decline. All your tissues suffer from this. And if you lose enough cells in your pancreas, well, that's diabetes. If you lose enough cells in your lung, well, it's emphysema. And it's like this. So any age-related disease is the direct outcome of that decline in the number of stem cells. So naturally, what can mitigate the role of stem cells is just the fact that there's a point in your life you don't have as many. The other things that can suppress the role of stem cell function, poor microcirculation. If you got something chronic in your life, well, that's because that area has likely been deprived of circulation, proper circulation, because a stem cell can be like 20 microns. Your capillary is 12 microns. How do you facilitate that circulation so stem cells can really repair? And the other one, I would say systemic inflammation, which suppresses the ability of stem cells to really see what is the tissue that is in need of repair. Stress release stress hormones that have been shown to suppress the role of stem cells in the body.
Oof.
Smoking cigarette, drinking alcohol, all of these suppress the role of stem cells in circulation.
But this sounds like the standard American, right? We're aging, we're drinking, we're smoking, we're stressed, and wondering why I'm 40 and X, Y, and Z is happening to me.
Correct.
And you're saying it's literally because the stem cells are so depleted, not functioning correctly, being able to do their job.
I don't want to push aside the knowledge that we have in terms of DNA methylation, mitochondrial function. There's a lot of things that is happening when we age. But I think that today in this whole discourse, the part that is the most fundamental, the most unknown and not talked about is that the stem cells are the repair system of the body. There's a lot of things that you can do to help your body repair. But at the end of the day, it's the stem cells that will do the repair. If you don't have stem cells, do everything that you want, good nutrition, good everything, take away the stem cells from the equation, you get zero repair. They are the driver of the repair. So you can do all the other things as well, but the fundamental approach starts with just supporting the role of your stem cells in your body.
So the people viewing and listening who don't understand how stem cells work, you're saying this stem cell can become whatever tissue that needs repair.
Correct. So here's how it works in your body. You get, and all these studies were done with heart attack, stroke, burn to the skin, bone fracture, in terms of documenting the process. But it happens with any kind of injury. So you get a heart attack. Within, let's say, 12 hours of that heart attack, there are compounds that we can start to pick up in the blood. These compounds are very well known to trigger the release of stem cells from the bone marrow. Granulocyte colony stimulating factor, stem cell factor, interleukin 8. Within about 3 to 5 days, the number of stem cells will increase up to tenfold in the circulation. And they're all there to go and respond to the need to go and repair the tissue. So they circulate everywhere. They don't know where to go. They've just been released. So what happens is that when they circulate in the fine capillaries of the affected tissue, that tissue, starting on the second day, is releasing stromal-derived factor 1, SDF1. It's the only compound now known to attract stem cells. So stem cells have on their surface a receptor for SDF1. And when the stem cell goes into the fine capillaries in the area of the injury, it connects with SDF1. It creates the externalization of adhesion molecule. The stem cell clings to the capillary wall and then cross the capillary wall, crawl to the site of the injury in the tissue. And upon contact with cellular debris, they will multiply and transform into cells of that tissue. It's just your repair. Just like you have an immune system, like you cut yourself, you have an infection, your immune system will take care of the bacteria. Your stem cells will take care of the injury.
It's like they have a consciousness of their own, right? When you just laid it out like that, you think of how intelligent that whole beautiful design was, right? And it can become any repair tissue anywhere in the body, and we just become depleted over time. Is this why when we really discovered this, these stem cell clinics started popping up and people were having success? Were people actually reversing like long-term injuries just from having stem cell treatments?
Yes, you can. Let me go with your question just a little bit.
Sure.
Like 2 decades ago. So we believe, science believes that stem cells are simply the precursors to blood cells. They make red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets. Anybody going to med school, that's what they're taught. And it's probably what they're taught to this day. So they make blood cells. The big discovery in the early 2000s is that adult stem cells can actually do more than that. So originally it was thought that they can become like bone, ligament, tendons. They could do some repair, but they don't have the ability to really repair everything. It was just really because the protocol utilized to study their potential were protocols developed for embryonic stem cells, for other types of stem cells. And using those methods, they don't perform. But when you use other methods that make them perform, they are just as powerful as other stem cells, but it was not known in the early 2000s. So the immediate question was, where can we find stem cells that have more capability? And it was first umbilical cord stem cells, placenta stem cells, induced pluripotent stem cells that came a little bit later on, fat tissue stem cells. And as all of this develops and become a real thing in the medical marketplace, along the way, we discovered that no, bone marrow stem cells are just as good, but they need to work in their own way. And if you just release them from the bone marrow, they are your repair system. So we can tap into them just by releasing them or injecting them. So when they are injected, and this is what is mostly known by people, yeah, they can achieve like exceptional regeneration. It does not happen to everybody. I would say general statistics, 30% of the people getting an injection will get great results. 30% will say, yeah, it was great for me to do it. I didn't get everything that I wanted to. Yeah. And 30% will say, I wasted my money. And it's all because once they are released, other things need to be there to really make them express their full regenerative power.
I see what you're saying, those signal molecules, so they're working properly. And if that person is not eating well, inflamed or maybe older, inflamed, so those things all come into play.
Correct.
Were people utilizing those factors also with the stem cells to help them work better, or were they just...
No, it started just with injections, but now over the years, more and more clinics are doing that kind of things. Like top clinics now will tell you before the injection, you need to go on a protocol to reduce systemic inflammation, to reduce oxidative stress. Not a lot of people work on circulation. I think we're one of the only ones boosting microcirculation, but they're doing a lot of things to prep the body to be able to better utilize these stem cells. And these are the clinics that have the best results.
And I haven't heard many people talk about microcirculation for stem cells, but microcirculation will come into place for everything. Even delivery of vitamins and minerals, everything is important.
Correct.
Is inflammation still getting in the way of proper microcirculation? Is it a dietary thing? Is it lack of movement that's really causing our microcirculation to just go down?
It's a number of things. Lack of movement is one of them. Another one is the fact that if you look at a capillary, like the smallest blood vessel in your body, that capillary is not really like a small tube. It's more like a tunnel in your connective tissue covered with epithelial cells. So that connective tissue that really holds all these capillaries together, this is collagen, elastin. So collagen is made out of specific amino acids that you only find in collagen. As we age, when is it that we eat those amino acids? You eat meat, and when you eat meat, the part that is too chewy, like the tendons, you just toss it aside. That's where these amino acids are. So we develop a general deficiency in the amino acids necessary to make collagen, and we kind of develop a poor quality of collagen as we age. That is one of the reasons why microcirculation kind of goes down in quality as we age. This is one of them. We need to make sure that we have enough nitric oxide producers to dilate these capillaries. We need to have blood fluidity that is good enough, like something like nattokinase, because a stem cell, it can be up to 20 microns. Your capillaries are 12 microns. How do you entrain a stem cells in a small capillary? You need to have like a good blood flow that pushes these stem cells. If you don't have good entrainment, they just like putter along, and they kind of miss the forks and they continue. They don't go into the small capillary. And also to make the capillaries have a layer called the glycocalyx, which makes cells really slick through these capillaries. And the glycocalyx is oftentimes degraded because we don't have all these polysaccharides in our nutrition. So that's what I mean by good capillary circulation. And I'm talking about this here in terms of stem cells, but you're totally right. in my med class, I was always not bothered, but like I was astonished to see how, as we did all this study on the physiology of microcirculation, we had a whole class in studying the hemodynamics, how the blood circulate into these vessels. But never in medicine do we ever look at your microcirculation. We take a blood sample from your vein and we look at what your blood has, but what your blood has is irrelevant if it doesn't reach the capillaries.
True.
Delivery of nutrient and oxygen,
Yep.
all of this. So I'm talking about it here in terms of stem cell circulation, but immune cell circulation, red blood cell circulation, and nutrient delivery. It's good for everything.
It all plays a role. And I'm hearing so much about our nutrition playing one of the massive roles for having proper microcirculation, and how important it is to eat a diet that's not inflammatory, but also having something rich in collagen that can feed the inside of the capillaries, and having good blood flow, drinking water, moving, all the important things that like we preach about. Those are fundamental for all of those long-term effects. Now, what is the state of stem cell clinics out here in the United States? Are they legal? Are they operating? What happened with stem cells? Now, today I want to chat about something that's been a crucial part of my daily routine. That is omega-3s. I take them every day. They're batched up with my supplements. And specifically, I take Peori's O3 Ultra Pure Fish Oil. Omega-3s actually help increase your muscle mass and function, especially as we age. Remember, at the age of 30 and over, we start losing that muscle mass. But research suggests that omega-3s can actually enhance muscle protein synthesis and improve our body's response to exercise. But here's the thing, not all omega-3 supplements are created equal. That's why I'm so impressed with Peori. They only use small fish, which tend to have lower levels of contaminants. And get this, each batch is certified clean by the Clean Label Project and tested against over 200 contaminants. And what I love about Peori's O3 is that it offers a high dose of 2,000 milligrams of long-chain omega-3 fatty acids, EPA and DHA in its natural form. And since I've been taking Peori's O3, I've noticed my improvements in my recovery after workouts, and not just supporting my heart and my brain and my eyes. It's also becoming an essential part of my fitness routine too. Now, I know supplements can be confusing and sometimes even concerning, but with Peori, you get the potency and the peace of mind that you need. It's a brand that you can trust. And here's some exciting news for you, the Heal Thyself listener. Peori is offering you a 20% off of the O3 Ultra Pure Fish Oil and all of their other great products. Go to peori.com/DRG and use the promo code DRG. That is PUORI.com/DRG. And use the code DRG. You get 20% off. Thank you, Peori. I want to talk about something that has been a game changer for me lately. It is bond charge. Now, if you're like me, I'm always looking for optimal ways to really work on my health, to get myself in the highest level of health so I could just be robust and moving through life, right? And when my friend had told me about bond charge, I went on the website. They have a huge range of products. But, you know, a huge range of products doesn't mean anything if it's not backed by science, and it is. There's solid science that's backing everything. It's an evidence-based company, which I love. But I got to tell you about my absolute favorite. It is a red light face mask. It's brand new and it is fantastic. Now, I've always said no to face mask companies that are like, Dr. G, work with it, because it was never strong enough. It wasn't going to do anything. You're just wearing red light on your face and it has no therapeutic value. It's not working on your skin, or you have to wear it a really long time for it to do anything. This is not true for the one by Bond Charge. It's super lightweight. It doesn't get hot and you're really comfortable wearing it. The best part, it uses both near infrared and red light to boost collagen and elastin production. That's the secret to younger looking skin. Now, I've tried other red light devices, but Bond Charge really stands out. They've actually removed that sleep disturbing blue and green light that a lot of the brands have in there, and they have zero EMF. So you put it on your face, you don't have to worry about nothing, no flicker, no anything. And since I started using this Bond Charge red light, I noticed a difference in my skin. It's noticeably smoother, the texture is smoother. I never really had breakouts. I still don't have breakouts, but I got a glow. And the best part is I can just put it on my face when I'm just relaxing or watching a movie or watching a show or listening to music. And I don't have to really do anything other than just let the goodies go right into my skin. So thank you, Bond Charge, for this amazing red light mask. It's the best one on the market. And I want you to check out their website. They have all different types of products for sleep, for performance, just being healthier overall. They got the infrared saunas, they got the EMF protection, you name it. If you're ready to take your wellness to the next level, I really can't recommend Bond Charge enough. Head over to bondcharge.com, use the coupon code DRG to get 15% off of your order. That is BONCHARGE.com. And don't forget to use the code DRG for a 15% off discount.
It is a delicate It's an easy question. It's a delicate answer because it's, how can I go there? Stem cells heal. Stem cells repair. Let's take diabetes. You're not making insulin. I have a choice as a company producing health products for you. I have a choice between selling you insulin every day of your life for the rest of your life, or I provide an option that allows your pancreas to repair. Which one has more profits in your lifetime? That small equation here, and I'll leave it there, but that small equation is behind all the decisions that have been made in the world of regulating stem cells. Stem cells will be, it's unavoidable. They will become the medicine of the future. They repair, they do their regenerative power. The fact that there is such an oversight, an obstacle put in the path of the development of these various treatments, make it so that clinics that do it will oftentimes present it in a different way. They will talk about regenerative medicine. You don't know that a clinic does stem cell injection until you're inside the clinic and now they offer it. Nobody really talks about it and nobody shares their protocols. So in the world of science, if you cannot share how you do it, if you do not document all the results that you get out of this treatment for publication, that means you don't have the sharing in the scientific community that would allow the identification of the best protocol, the best application, how to do it, how do you surround that treatment with products that reduce inflammation, all of this. What would be like a full treatment protocol, which you do for any other condition, any other treatment in the world of medicine. Stem cells is sort of hidden. And that is blocking the full development of those treatments. But they are available, probably not to the extent that you're seeing them when you go to Nicaragua, Costa Rica, wherever, where it's much more free in their application. But there are places where you can get them in the United States, more and more.
More and more.
And they were not, there was, I think it's probably like, 6-7 years ago, there was an action by the FDA that you could not use, for example, fat-derived stem cells, because it was claimed that you do a transformation that is akin to drug development. So a doctor's clinic, in order to do this, had to be certified like a drug manufacturing site. No clinic, is certified that way. So it really blocked the use of these stem cells. There's a company that sued the FDA, and at the end they won. So right now the door has been open, but many people are still afraid of what could come in the future. So there's still a reluctance to go into it. But right now the field has been open with fat-derived stem cells. There's some form of umbilical cord stem cells that are also allowed to be utilized. Placenta-derived stem cells, exosomes are allowed as long as they're promoted as growth factors. So there's still a limitation as to how it's expressed, how it is promoted, how it is provided to a patient, but it's more and more available.
Would you say most of the stem cells being done, they're the bone marrow ones out here?
Most of the stem cells that are being done are moving more and more toward umbilical cord stem cells, which I am not necessarily saying that it is a great development. I don't think they are the best one to use globally. Number one, they're not like, it's not an eternal supply. It's a limited supply. As many babies that you have, in this country in a year, that's the limitation of that supply. It's pushed, there's more money into it. So that's a good reason why this is pushed. Taking your own bone marrow stem cells is a much more like tedious process, more painful for the patients, more risky for the practitioner. Risky in the sense like it's an invasive approach, but you have an unlimited supply of those. So I think bone marrow stem cells down the road will come back as being like a great source of stem cells. Right now, I think there's a big push on umbilical cord stem cells.
When it comes to getting stem cells, I know, and I want to like dispel this myth, or if there is a risk, can someone actually stem cell develop to something pathological like a cancer stem cell?
It's a great question, because in the world, like your own stem cells won't. So your own stem cells are fine. Whether you release them or you inject your own bone marrow stem cells, there's been no association. A lot of thought that it was risky. So there's a lot of people still thinking that there's a risk, because at the center of a tumor, you have what we call cancer stem cells. So immediately it makes you think that stem cells can become cancerous. And they're really two different animals. So a stem cell from your bone marrow is not a cancer risk by itself. To a large extent, there's a lot of evidence and of observation showing that they may actually be anti-cancer. But if we talk about allogenic stem cells, when you get stem cells from I'm assuming that your question comes from, you get, for example, umbilical cord stem cells. Can you receive something that can generate a disease process in you? I would say that although the risk exists, it's been all the colleagues that I know that do not do umbilical cord stem cells. The main reason is that one is, number one, there have been a lot of reports with the FDA. It's the most common report. I'm not saying it's very common, but it is the most common report is systemic infection because of a contaminated umbilical cord sample, because it may have come from a clinic that did not handle the sample properly. But if it's well done, it's not more of a problem compared to any other kind of biologics. So, but that's number one. Number two, when you get a stem cell that is coming from somebody who may have some form of genetic material that could be deleterious to you, could that be transferred? A lot of people who do umbilical cord stem cells will tell you they're tested for that. But from a pure scientific standpoint, they're only tested for what we know what to test them for. So that there's a limitation there. I don't think it's a big risk. I really don't think. If somebody wants to do stem cell, umbilical cord stem cell injection, I would not say there's a big risk. But there is one study that was published early in April this year that is, to me, the first study that is indicating that the risk is actually real. What did it is that they inserted a gene that codes for Alzheimer's in humans, human Alzheimer's, into a mouse, let that mouse develop, then took stem cells from that mouse, injected that in the recipient, and the recipient developed Alzheimer. So it shows that the transfer here is not just imaginary. It's not just an intellectual risk. It's a risk that actually could exist. It has not yet showed up in the, I've never heard of it in the world of stem cell injection. Right now, it's still in the world of an experimental design in mice. But it suggested for the first time that, yeah, it could be a thing.
And we keep an eye on it, right?
Absolutely.
So then it would be the bone marrow. If you're looking to get stem cells, although it's invasive, it would be the safest bet especially if you're concerned, or maybe even immunocompromised. It would be probably the best thing to do. Now, according to the EPA, indoor air can be 2 to 5 times more polluted than outdoor air, and in some cases, up to 100 times worse. I've always been conscious about air quality, especially about living near a busy road. I live in LA. It's constant traffic, right? It's combined with seasonal allergies. It can really affect someone's breathing. And I know me, being sensitive to the environment, it's the same thing. So about 4.5 years ago, I discovered Air Doctor. I remember I was gifted one by the company and I really loved it. I started telling my friends about it and I started working with them more long-term. And then they became a sponsor in the show. I don't really talk about many other air purifiers. This is certainly one of the best ones on the market. It's been a game changer for me. Air Doctor is an incredible air purifier that filters out 99.99% of dangerous contaminants and allergens. We're talking about pollen, pet dander, dust mites, mold, and even bacteria and viruses. And what I love about Air Doctor is how quiet it is. They use something called whisper jet fans, which means it's 30% quieter than ordinary air purifiers. And I can have it running in my bedroom all night. I don't even notice it's there. Since I started using Air Doctor, I've noticed significant improvements in my allergies, overall breathing. The air in my home feels cleaner. It's got no smell. It's just nice, clean air when you walk in. I'm sleeping better. It's a major difference to my overall health and well-being. Now, I know investing in an air purifier is a big decision. That's why I'm excited to share. Guess what? Air Doctor offers you a 30-day money-back guarantee. So you bring it in your home, you bring it for a month. If you don't like it, you send it back. You're going to like it though. And for you, the Heal Thyself listener, you get an exclusive deal. Go to airdoctorpro.com, use the promo code DRG, and depending on the model you choose, you can receive up to 39% off or up to $300 off. That's crazy. Plus, you get a free 3-year warranty on any unit, which is an additional $84 value in itself. So to lock in this special offer, go to airdoctorpro.com and use the promo code DRG. You know, as a health advocate, I'm always looking for tools to make healthy cooking easier and safe. That's why I'm excited to tell you about Our Place cast iron line. Our Place has taken this classic and given it a modern health conscious twist. They have cast iron pans which are enameled. It's a game changer. Unlike traditional cast iron pans, they're not going to rust on you. and they're super easy to use and they're clean. But what really caught my attention is the safety factor. You know I love this stuff. Our place doesn't mess around when it comes to your health. The cast iron line has no Proposition 65 warning in California. That is the strictest regulation for heavy metals and toxins, which is a really big deal if you're conscious about what goes in your body, and I know all of you are. The enamel coating on these pans is something special. It's made from glass particles and they're fused to the surface with intense heat. It's not just for looks, it meets all the food safety standards set by the FDA, Proposition 65, and even in Europe regulations. And get this, it passes all the requirements for leachable lead and cadmium, which basically means that it's zero. You're not getting any heavy metals going here. And it cooks really well. It distributes heat evenly. It's versatile. And I love knowing that what I'm using is functional as it is healthy. It's taking care of me and my family, right? So if you're looking to upgrade your cookware with something that's both high quality and health conscious, I can't recommend Our Place enough. Head over to FromOurPlace.com and use the code DRG at checkout. You'll get 10% off site-wide. That is FromOurPlace.com. The code is DRG.
Bone marrow or fat-derived tissue. They're not as powerful as stem cells from the bone marrow, but they're a really good source of stem cells. And you have them all your life. They're dormant stem cells in your fat tissue, very easy to extract. So they're probably at the end of, in the long term, probably the one that will be used the most, mostly because they're yours. And again, you have them all your life.
Off air, we were talking about there are certain agents that you can consume that would help boost up your stem cells. Is this we can actually eat things or consume things? Are there any supplements or products, like what things can complement before we go get a real stem cell treatment?
Well, if you're talking about how to assist a stem cell treatment, it's a little bit what we talked about. I would say make sure that you suppress systemic inflammation within the few weeks before, let's say at least a month, before you go to get your stem cell injection. Make sure you improve your blood flow. During that month, take nattokinase to really increase hemodynamics. Make sure that you put into your body a lot of the nutrients that stem cells will utilize. And what I mean by this is that one stem cell, when it migrates, let's say, into your liver, and it becomes 1 million liver cells, that process of amplification will become, I'm pretty sure, it's not been done yet, it's not been studied. Once we've studied all of that, we will realize that it's probably one of the greatest metabolic demand of the body. You have such amplification, which means mitochondrial biogenesis, which means lipids, which means protein, and all these cells in any tissue means reconstruction of your collagen infrastructure, your soft skeleton. So you need collagen peptides. So I would say put all of this in your body. Take that month to boost mitochondrial function, to take collagen peptides, prepare the terrain for that stem cell injection. But in terms of product that triggered the release of stem cells, like taps into our own stem cells, this is really what I've been doing for the past, 23 years, is working with plants, not plant stem cells, plants that contain compounds that will trigger the release of your own stem cells. So you consume them, and then we can quantify using flow cytometry, taking a blood sample before and after. We can document within about 2-3 hours and increase, depending on the plant, 5, 6, 8, 10 million new stem cells in circulation within just an hour or two of consumption.
It's incredible that nature even gives us that. And for someone who maybe can't afford a stem cell procedure just yet, would that be a good option?
Of course. I mean, the first place where you or people will go in their mind is that, of course, the injection as a medical treatment is more powerful. But let's do just a little bit of math. You take, for example, the product, this blend that I have developed of all these top plants that I have studied over the years. You take 2 capsules, you will release within 2-3 hours 10 million of your own stem cells. And that's a conservative number. So do this, let's say, twice a day. Do this for a month. You have released 600 million of your own stem cells during that month. You can do this for 3 months. That means you have released 2 billion of your own stem cells within just 2-3 months. But an injection will be about 100 to 150 million stem cells, of which you have about 15% survival. So you look at the math of this cumulative effect, not as one big bolus of stem cells, but in the way that your body normally repairs, just having extra more a little bit every day. So we have an ongoing study right now with chronic congestive heart failure. It's in Madrid. It's ongoing. So right now we have 10 patients going through that study, And of those 10 patients that started with chronic, stable, congestive heart failure, 10 out of 10 have normal function, heart function after 6 months. We have started one on Parkinson. We have one in development right now on liver failure, on colitis, on COPD, lung problems. Not to show that releasing your stem cells can heal diseases, but it's just to prove the power of our own stem cells.
Yeah.
When we release them, that's what they're doing. So the point is to convince people and make them realize that you start doing this while you're healthy, and it gives you an amazing leverage of keeping the health that you have today and really go into the next 3-4 decades with optimal health. That's the main idea of all these studies.
That's incredible. And to, again, I'm still appreciating nature so much for the intelligence and helping us create our stem cells, our own stem cells, boost them up. So this may be a question that's coming in someone's head listening. Do we have a finite number of stem cells, or the production goes down over time?
It's the amount of red marrow that goes over time. So the best analogy that I have found to visualize the process, you know, if you have a well and your well has, let's say, 10 feet of water, you take 2 buckets, give it 10 minutes, it has 10 feet of water. Take 100 buckets, give it 30 minutes, you'll be at 10 feet of water. Take 1,000 buckets, give it 3 hours, and you'll be at 10 feet of water. That's how a well works. So imagine you're born with 100 wells, and then you lose wells as you age. But the red marrow that you're left with, you can release as much as you want from that red marrow, and it will still go back to its homeostasis. So you don't run out of stem cells. I'm not saying you don't become exhausted of stem cells. As part of the normal process of aging, that red marrow shrinks. And when you die at 120 years old, it's probably because you have not had enough stem cells in your past 20, 30 years to really maintain your tissues properly. And there's a point where you start to get into like general organ failure. Yeah. And then you slowly die of old age. So I'm not saying it's not linked to that stem cell depletion, but you do not deplete because you release them. Yeah. It's just the normal process of that conversion. So we're starting right now to do research. It's pure research. So we have that for the next 10, 15 years. But what can we do to slow down that conversion? Is there something that we can do to reconvert that red marrow, that yellow marrow to red marrow? So if we find something to do this, it's probably going to be like Nobel Prize in longevity. So, but this is decades of work.
It's still an incredible direction to take, because you know how much longevity, and people have been talking about it and really living their years after they retire, getting older, thriving and feeling good, you know, not walking around with the back pain we expect or the knee pain we expect, and the potential for even sports injuries or anyone. Absolutely. Yeah, this is like all really coming out there. What has been, when it comes to stem cells, one of the most memorable moments or research you found where you're just like, I love stem cells?
I mean, I can give you so many. Let me go back to the early days, because these are the events, you know, that have been so transformational for me. So I'm hired in 1995 to study blue-green algae from Klamath Lake. You may have heard of this product, to document the mechanisms of action and to provide the science behind the benefits that people were experiencing. This was just after the passage of the Dietary Supplement Health and Education Act. So I very quickly identify the active compounds and the mechanisms of action for the benefits on inflammation, on the immune system, and on mental clarity. Most people experience like mental clarity with this product. But as I'm doing all this work, I came across people reversing diabetes, multiple sclerosis, heart disease, severe emphysema, Parkinson. And the question was, at first it's 10 cases, but when it becomes 100, it becomes like really compelling. But I have no explanation. How can one plant touch so many different aspects of human health? Until one day I came across an article documenting stem cells going from the bone marrow to the brain, where in 2001, stem cells are only precursors to blood cells. And of all organs in the body, the brain does not regenerate. My background is brain research. We were told the brain does not regenerate. So here's an observation published in the scientific literature showing stem cells going from the bone marrow to the brain. I thought it was amazing. So I went to the local medical library to see what else I could find, and I found another study documenting the same thing in the liver and another one in the heart. So I'm thinking, if stem cells can become heart, liver, and brain, why not pancreas, lung, skin, and the rest? It makes no sense. So it's just a matter of time. Scientists will document this. So let's assume that they can become all the tissues of the body. That means they have to be the repair system of the body. You don't have a function in the cell of that magnitude without a purpose. So we published an article in the journal Medical Hypotheses, stem cells are the repair system of the body. In the back of my mind, what if this blue-green algae works as a stem cell mobilizer? Like at the time, completely like lunatic ideas. But it's the only one that made sense to me. So we acquired a flow cytometer, started to count stem cells in our blood before and after taking this product, and we discovered the whole phenomenon. So now I have a product that put more stem cells in circulation, and this idea that stem cells are the repair system of the body, they're just like good ideas that could have no meaning for health. So I make 200 bottles of that product, and I ship that to a friend of mine in France, naturopathic doctor, and he's getting all the cases that doctors are telling the patients, there's nothing else that I can do for you. So he happened to have cases like severe emphysema. We had one little girl with spinal myopathy. She had never walked. She had never stood up. She was crawling some on the floor. And so it's genetic. So the doctors told the mom, it will go down. She will never improve. And she had two hands completely paralyzed in a wheelchair. So I shipped the product. So the mother says, will that help my child? And my answer is, no, you're going to release stem cells with the same genetic defects. It's not going to help. Can I still give it to my daughter? As far as I know, France is a free country. So give it to your daughter. 3 weeks later, for the first time, her daughter stood up. 3 weeks later, she started to walk. A case on emphysema. So the mother, the woman had been on oxygen tank for a number of years, 18 hours a day. 2-3 months later, I received an email. She went to climb the stairs at the cathedral, and she did that on her own, didn't have to catch up her breath, and she was just saying thank you. I started to receive these cases that were really showing stem cells can do something unbelievable. There's the heart study that I just shared with you. Some of the cases that have been to me like the most touching is one day I was traveling in Mexico and to lecture, and this father came to see me, and he was explaining how his daughter had vitiligo. Vitiligo, I don't know how you say it in English. Vitiligo. So she has all these spots on her face, her hands, like everywhere. And she was bullied at school. So she had her experience of being a kid was awful for her. So she started to take the product, and then within a matter of 4 to 6 months, she's there talking about and he was tearing up, talking about the life of her daughter, and he says, take off your sandal. And she showed me that there was a size of about a pea size of still white skin. She was fairly dark, white skin on her foot. That's all that was left on her body. So to see how the life of that child had been changed, and I'm not saying it's a great product for vitiligo. All I'm saying is that you put more stem cells in circulation, they can become everything in your body. It's your repair system. If this was understood by the general population, we would change the face of the earth in terms of health and wellness. So to me, that's really what is driving me.
And that's what a purposeful driver, right? That we know, and that you really are behind this being the repair system, and it can heal so many different. It's not targeted towards something. It's what the body needs and knows to do. You're sort of working with the intelligence of the body, moving these stem cells throughout
which is what makes it difficult to penetrate mainstream, because mainstream, the language of mainstream is diagnosis and treatment specific for one thing. And it's, for the most part, symptomatic treatment. We don't necessarily look for the cause of the disease. You have diabetes, I give you insulin. You have high blood pressure, I give you an inhibitor of muscle contraction. I mean, nothing is to really repair and treat the problem. We treat the symptoms. And now we come with something that is really simple conceptually, but its mechanism of action is really boosting the innate ability of the body to actually repair. There's no language for it in mainstream medicine.
Right.
And it's one of the reasons why I've been talking about this for 20 some years. And it's just now starting to catch, on the marketplace.
So it's funny because, we think about that language and in naturopathic medicine, we talk about the innate intelligence. And sometimes I said that to patients, and the first time patients, they got a question mark over their head looking at me like, wait, well, I thought we were going to treat my diabetes only, and this is how we approach medicine. So it's sort of revolutionary in many ways too. Fantastic. I'm so inspired by this. I mean, like, now I really feel like, okay, yeah, stem cells, I need some, Is there anything that you've been wanting to express as far as stem cells or something that we may have missed in this conversation that's really important for you to relay to the audience?
No, I think for me, the most important to relay, and it's the main message that we're trying to bring now to the marketplace, is that just like you have an immune system, we have a repair system. It is such a simple message, but it's so hard for people to wrap their mind around it. And I think the reason why it's hard is that when's the last time that we identified a system in the body? It's more than a century ago.
Yeah.
The endocrine system, the nervous system, and the immune system, described as we know them today. And a century later, we realized that, whoops, the body is a system that we did not know. And even though I'm saying and I'm describing it, and there's tons of science behind it, somebody at med school today is still not educated about it. So it makes it like really hard to swallow. It's one of those new discovery and development that will take a generation to kind of really sink in. But as individuals, don't wait on mainstream medicine. The message here is just realize that if you have a cold, you boost your immune system. You don't think twice about it. If anything is not working properly in your body, it's your stem cells that are going to take care of that problem, boost your repair system. And you will be 25 years ahead of mainstream medicine, but you'll be able to affect your life today.
Man, that one went right into my bones, right into my stem cells, my bone marrow. Where can we find you? What is the product that you're coming out? How do they find that? Just any information on you for viewers and listeners who go, I want stem cells. I want to boost my repair system.
So the website is stemregen.co, so stemregen.co. The product was Stemregen for a long time. Now it's been changed for Stemregen Release, which is the same product, because now we have a line of product that taps into exactly what we talked earlier. Once we release stem cells, some people still say, I don't have an experience. Your stem cells do their job. Otherwise, you would not be alive today. Why is it that they don't do what you want them to do? And oftentimes, it's poor microcirculation in the area where a problem has been chronic, and also systemic inflammation. So you have one product called Signal that basically suppresses what we call like background noise in your blood circulation. So it increases the signal to noise ratio. So stem cells can really identify where to go. And a product that opens blood circulation with nattokinase for blood flow, nitric oxide producer, bioflavonoids to help the reconstruction of the surrounding of capillaries, and the polysaccharide to rebuild the glycocalyx. So that's sort of the package that we have, the protocol that we have to really boost stem cells in the body and give them a chance to really do the repair that they can do.
Amazing. Everyone go check it out. Try out the product. If you are hurting anywhere in your body, head to toe, just know systemically you have a repair system and it can be up-leveled. Thank you for coming on to the show. Are you on Instagram?
Instagram and TikTok, stemcellchristian.
I love that.
Tons of material.
I love that. Go get your education there. Thank you, Christian, for being on the show. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you.